Hey everybody, so I got a really weird hot take. It's not even a hot take, it's just correct. Fuck you, shut the fuck up, suck my dick. I'm kidding. Unless you want to. Unless you want to do it, you can do it if you want to. We fuck with consent, nigga. But nah, hot take. Bear with me. Just hear me out here. Pokemon and Digimon are in two entirely different genres and shouldn't be compared at all. You shouldn't compare the two of them. They're doing two entirely different things. I don't think they work well in comparison videos together, in comparison media. And I think the Digimon versus Pokemon beef is superfluous and an utter waste of everybody's fucking time if you enjoy either piece of media.
Boy, if you don't get...
So for clarity, I grew up in the 90s, right? I was born in 1994. I think in 96, Pokemon came out in Japan, and then we got it a couple of years later. I grew up in peak Pokemania, but I also grew up in peak Digimon time. We're talking Digimon Adventure 1. You know what I'm saying? I remember turning on Kids WB, watching Pokemon, then flipping to Fox Kids and catching Digimon for the first time when it premiered. And I was enamored with it. And I already really liked Pokemon, so I just watched both. I collected both card games. I played with all of the toys. I used to get into debates about whether or not Pokemon and Digimon were better. And at some point, I was on the Digimon side of that argument because Digimon were just more powerful and could destroy the world in ways that a lot of Pokemon could not yet because we didn't have the gods or anything yet. And as I got older, that debate just stopped making sense to me because as I continued to watch both shows, play all of the video games from both franchises, collect all of the cards from both franchises, it stopped making sense to compare the two. It didn't make any sense. I wish I had more eloquent wording for it, but that's just how I felt. It never really meant much to compare Digimon to Pokemon. Digimon's darker. No, Pokemon's more fun. Pokemon's immature. Digimon are ugly. Like it didn't really do anything. Pokemon and Digimon looked very different, at least early on. I think Pokemon are moving in a very Digimon direction with their design now, but I've already talked about that. Pokemon and Digimon looked very different initially, and they were telling two entirely different stories. Digimon is, for all intents and purposes, especially in the beginning, an isekai. It's a bunch of kids that get sent into a magical world where monsters suddenly exist, and now they're trying to find a way home while also saving both of their worlds. Peak isekai, right? Peak, I live in the human world and then I get transported into a magical monster world. Pokemon is not that. Pokemon are the local flora and fauna. They're just integrated into the society. They just are. There's no what the fuck is that factor with Pokemon more often than not because people are comfortable with and are aware of Pokemon. Ash being an inexperienced trainer was an analog for us not really understanding the full Pokemon world and what Pokemon battling entails. Pokemon just isn't that show. It's not that anime. It's not that franchise. It just never made sense to compare the two. The video games are completely different. The sources of media that they come from are completely different. Pokemon's always been Pokemon. Digimon used to be V-Pets, which is an offshoot of Tamagotchi that was marketed specifically towards boys in the 90s. They were hitting the same market, but they were scratching two entirely different itches. And I'm willing to admit that you could scratch my back and my leg and both get scratched and both get satisfied. It's fine. Both things exist, and I don't think that they should be smushed together like that. Like, for all intents and purposes, to me, Pokemon is a comedy, adventure, anime / franchise with some lighthearted stories that can get serious and sometimes do get serious, like especially with the show. And Digimon is an isekai that's also a battle shonen. And they're both battle shonen to a degree, but the way the battles happen are just very different. I don't know, Digimon grapples with themes that Pokemon doesn't often touch on. Pokemon leans into comedy differently than the way Digimon does. They're just not really trying to do the same thing and going, this is better than this, doesn't really do either franchise any good because I think that there's room for both because I think they serve two entirely different purposes. I wouldn't compare a comedy adventure sports anime, because let's be real, Pokemon battling is a sport, right? I wouldn't compare a sports anime to an isekai. I wouldn't compare Haikyuu to the time I woke up as a slime. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. Even if they both have monsters. They're not doing the same thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the reason I don't compare Naruto to Dragon Ball Z. They're not. There's some homages. There's some similarities, especially in designs. Naruto's creator, Masashi Kishimoto, is a fan of Akira Toriyama's work. But, like, they're not the same. At least not in the beginning. I think Naruto got real Dragon Ball Z with the transformations and the giant explosions and the big Kamehameha Rasengan, big ball, 1,000 years of kaboom shit. I think they lean too far into that. And I do think that of Pokemon with Digimon, where Pokemon just went off the handle with its designs, and some of those designs could just be Digimon. But, like, outside of that, I just don't know if smashing these two franchises together and going, this one is better than this one, really does either franchise any good. I like how serious Digimon can get, and that it's marketed towards older kids. And I like that younger kids have a fun adventure that they can watch unfold, while also knowing that they can participate in that too. I just think there's room for both, and that there always has been. So I'm not interested in any more Digimon versus Pokemon hierarchies. I have a Crest of Knowledge neck tattoo, and I also have a Pokeball tattoo, because I love both of these franchises, and I think we can get along. I really think we can. I think the Digimon community and the Pokemon community are fun communities to be a part of, and I wish we'd stop fighting over which one was better. They both do very, very good things. Some of the same things, very differently. And that's okay.